Pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America. To the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the minutes from the April 4th meeting.
I'll move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Public comments?
You can interact if you want, but you don't have to. I had a concern I saw in the council packet about the trees going up for bid, which is fine. My concern is how they went up for bid, by charging by the hour. I think that can create a lot of problems. I know two of the companies that did bid, before. I don't have a problem with any of the companies that they're fine. But if you're charging by the hour, that creates a concern because maybe this guy's coming with an experienced guy, this guy's not coming with an experienced guy. I would like to think we're not doing these jobs with an open checkbook. And how we're managing that. And if we're hiring a company from, let's say, Port Huron or Brown City or wherever, are they being paid drive time to drive here since we're charging by the hour? I don't know what has changed where we're not picking the trees that we're gonna cut down and making a list and having the contractors look at that list. When you guys go buy a new piece of equipment or a truck, you don't, you compare apples to apples. This one's loaded, this one's not loaded. And there's no way to do that hiring contractors by the hour because again, you don't know the experience or the equipment they're bringing compared to the next guy. Where if they were bidding on it, that we're cutting these. I just think it's a lot more fair way to bid, not just fair, just to not create a liability on you guys on a budget on how much money you're gonna spend. And if you are cutting the trees down, I had a concern last time, since I followed the gravel trains going to the sawmill with maples, black walnuts. Where is the wood going this time? I know in the past it has been dumped at the DPW and then you auction it off. Are you doing that again or are you not doing that again? I think this whole tree cutting thing needs to be tabled because that process was done wrong. You cannot hire contractors by law. Because you don't know the crew they're bringing compared to the next guy. One guy charging $200. Is he coming with 3 guys or 2 guys? Is he coming with guys that have 30 years experience or the first day on the job? One guy can cut this tree down in 3 hours. The next guy, I'm gonna take 10 hours to cut it down. That's my concern.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Approve the agenda. Any additions, corrections?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as is.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have our correspondence. We have our Parks and Recs and our DTE Service Commission letter. Motion to receive and file.
I'll move.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Administrator's report.
Couple new pieces of equipment on site where the ambulance, the new ambulance has been delivered to us. We have it on hand. It's gonna be about a 20 to 30 day process of turning it over and getting it ready for service. But it is on site. Came in a little bit under budget. So there are some things we'll discuss later in the agenda about some additional equipment. Our new blinking light on Harrington went up today. So a lot brighter, a lot more visibility. The wastewater treatment plant and the construction run into a little bit of a hiccup with the excavation, the depth of the excavation and the closeness to the buildings. We've had OSHA on site to help guide us through some of the safety issues with it. And we're gonna have to change a little bit how we finish that excavation, but it'll be under OSHA's guidance, so we should be fine there. And I'm in the process of getting a new flag for the fire hall. I've gotten quite a few calls that's in disarray, so I'm getting a new one ordered.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you. All right, council members report. I have nothing. Denise?
Okay.
Don?
Couple of things. We get Public Works, to take a look at our historic sign out here. It's leaning, just to
Okay.
straighten it up. And just a comment, observation on the fence along Croswell Road by the pond. I've only seen a couple of geese, so I think it's working. I hope so.
It appears to be.
They're staying on their side of the fence.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Sal?
Done.
Andy?
And nothing.
All right, thank you. Unfinished business, we had nothing. New business item A, Leah.
First part was the zoning and planning. And I find it very confusing, even after FOIA requests and reading through your zoning ordinances and the planning and land use. Because I was asked, what do you need a permit for? But yet after talking to state and county officials, they say the permits start here. I did find the permit that you need. But where does reporting and enforcement come from? I see no policy or where to report or how to track through the city.
Well, I agree. We're in the process of kind of redoing our entire zoning process. We're getting some grants through the state to help us fund, hiring a group to help us update all of our ordinances. Guidance for the Planning and Zoning Commission. Historically, it's always been the city administrator who's handled it in the past. And, we're trying to widen the berth a little bit, make it a little more user friendly for the public. So when they ask for zoning, and they ask for the ordinances and all that. So we're in the process of updating that.
Well, how are people to know if they need a permit? A land use permit through, because Michigan law requires it, federal law requires it actually. So how do people, special commercial properties know when they need to have a permit? And then if the city isn't going to provide the information, then do you just skip channels and go to the county and then to the state for enforcement?
Yeah, so we work closely with the county because really all I'm doing is signing off on zoning, right? I'm not a building inspector or a
Right, the inspector comes from the county.
comes from the county. So most of the permitting is done through the county. I only sign off on zoning only. So in order for them to apply for a permit at the county, they would get sent back to me and they would say, this is what my proposed land use is. I check and make sure that it is an appropriate land use based on our zoning, and I sign off on that. They take that document back to the county and then the rest is handled up there. I don't get involved with the enforcement or anything.
We don't get involved with any of the enforcement, so that's what you tell city or county officials is that you don't know anything about who needed it or how they needed it, or if they're violating it.
Not anything other than zoning. I check the zoning and if it meets the zoning, the proposed land use for what they want to do, that's what I enforce. You know, we have a fence ordinance. If you want to build an 8-foot fence, I say you can't. We have our ordinance says you can only build a 6-foot fence.
Well, my concern is that we have a commercial property back here, 108 the mill directly behind here. And they are draining that building across the railroad tracks and have been on several occasions.
Yeah, I've been contacted by Eagle. We inspected it. We did water sampling in accordance with Eagle. And there was no contamination issues. That's
Oh,
been
the city
signed off.
did this?
Pardon?
The city did water testing or
Yes.
Eagle?
Yeah, the city at the direction of Eagle. They said, please test the water. I was in contact with a gentleman from Eagle. I can't remember his name. But he had said he'd gotten a concern call about discharge of water. And so we went over and took a look. He suggested I do sampling.
And when was the sampling taken? I have to probably go through FOIA to get that, correct?
Yeah, I did the testing, so I didn't really.
Oh, you did.
I can make some notes if you're interested in when it was done and what the results were.
You personally took those? Or something?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm an old wastewater guy, so I'm licensed with the state of Michigan. And I've accredited labs through my career.
So next would be. So, the next thing I know that you guys are gonna talk about the ethics policy, so I'll just skip that, right?
Sure.
So the other one would be the municipal engineer. Do we have a policy on the municipal engineer, an acknowledgement of that position? And then how do you go about finding that? Because that's been.
We say we have a policy per se, we do bid out, like, we'll bid those services, I believe, every 3 or 5 years.
Municipal engineer, we have one currently,
Pardon?
we have a municipal engineer currently.
I believe F&B is our municipal engineer of record. Lisa Vanderbrink.
But have they assigned someone directly for Croswell?
Mhm.
No. Okay,
I mean, per project, they have people assigned to projects. They don't assign somebody to just the city of Croswell.
and would that be public information?
It- I mean, that can change, so I don't necessarily post it or publish it. I mean, that's.
No, but when asked for the name of the municipal engineer, the person in charge of, say, the clean water revolving fund, how do I get that name from the city?
Oh, I mean, make the FOIA request, and I'll figure out what that process is, because I deal with a bunch of different people at F&B based on what, what discipline is being addressed, right? Is it building? Is it structural? Is it electrical? So I deal with a bunch of different engineers.
So how do I get that information right there? How do I word it in a FOIA request so that? it can-
Well, we have, I guess, every project has construction meetings and they take minutes, and those minutes are FOIable. You could request those minutes.
Okay,
I don't have those minutes, so it's not foiable through me.
It's,
have
they're
them?
sent to me.
Sent to you.
Yes, yeah. Sent to me. Yeah, because Eagle's involved in that, those meetings, it's yeah. Okay, okay.
and I'll just leave since you guys didn't talk about that, ethics, I'll just leave.
Well, this would be your opportunity to comment on, because when we cover that issue, we don't really ask for public comments. So this would be an opportunity to maybe state your concerns on that.
I'll wait until after you talk about it.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. All right. Gonna be our steps of bids. Barb Dinger.
It is all done. We received one bid. I'm gonna recommend that we, not accept one bid. I'm gonna rebid this out. We've reached out to a few other people. There were some concerns about availability, on-site availability. So we're having those discussions right now, and I'm gonna rebid that. So I'm just gonna refuse all bids. Sue, do we need counsel?
They need to
Okay,
refuse.
yep. So I recommend that we refuse all bids.
So look for a motion to,
A motion that we rebid the assessor position.
how you want that worded? Rebid or reject? currently?
Reject and rebid.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Item C, our tree bids. Have my,
So we did the bidding out, of course, as our residents had talked about. It was based on an hourly, the bid requested an hourly rate for trimming and chipping trees and stump grinding within the city limits. So that is what, those are the bids that we did receive. And out of the bids we received, I'm recommending Flynn's Tree Service at $130 an hour, trimming and removal, and $100 an hour grinding.
These bids, what would they be in relation to the last time we bid it out? Was it done by hours? Was it done by?
Flynn's,
what?
Flynn's has been our service, the bid winner in years. I believe the 2 past years.
I was gonna say, isn't it done to,
Yep.
you've done it this way?
Yep.
Oh, more than that.
With this, this,
With Flame.
this,
That's
I
the
always
way we
bid it
bid-
out for hourly.
Yeah, the way we
out
bid it
for
out.
All right, but every contract has been by the hour, not by job or tree.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with what was said during public comments. It's just, this is how we did this one. So if you'd like me to change and to do just a per tree or group of trees, then it would be up to you to reject all bids and.
What I'm saying is I don't remember the last time we bidded this out.
Every year.
Every year.
Every
We
year.
did about this time last
I
year.
don't know what it was. Was it by the hour? But
By the, or last year.
okay.
So we've done it that way historically. Again, I don't disagree that, some of the comments made were viable comments and maybe should be considered, but it's up to you guys.
Do we have a set amount that we set aside for tree removal?
Usually do 10,000 a year in budget for tree removal, tree trimming.
And who is, that'd be Scott, probably, right? The lead person.
The Scots and I work together on that because Troy and his group does a lot of
Right.
the light trimming. But if it's something that we deem as a safety issue or bigger, needing proper equipment, that we only have so high of a reach in our bucket truck, so that's why we have an outside contractor.
And this has nothing to do with any of the road project. That's all encompassed.
Most of that is encompassed within the bid and
Okay.
be subcontracted.
On these bids here. And I heard what was comments and I was looking at them and I'm thinking, I'm looking at it, are we here to save a few dollars or what are we doing? Or are we, whoever we decide we choose are they capable? They have the skills? Like it was mentioned to do these trees, because if we're gonna try to choose, okay, here's $125 here, $100 an hour. You might get a guy for $100 an hour and come in and just make a total mess. Just a total mess. So we have to, to me, my concern is, do we know, have we talked about these individuals, these companies that we know that are gonna come in here and are going to do a quality work, experience, all that included, on what we're paying them for.
Flynn,
Ben's have been here for a couple of years, yeah.
Yeah.
and the Hill Tree Service helped Flynn 2 years ago when Elizabeth Street was done, and they do a bang up job too.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's a better value if we bid the project versus bid the service. I never really looked at it that way, but I mean, there's some valid points to that.
I guess let's make it, check into the drive time thing. That's actually a very good question on that. And we select the trees, correct? Just don't say, go ahead, here's 10
No,
grand, go.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure we select the trees and let's look at the changing this for next year. And I don't want to get too far behind unless because rebidding this, you're gonna talk another month. So I'm okay with continuing on here, let's just make sure we have some oversight.
They're always, yeah.
These guys weren't rolling and cutting down what they wanted. It's what we needed.
No, that's what,
Down.
just want to make sure that we're in control of what trees get cut and so. Okay. All right, so we look for a motion to approve or a motion to rebid. So let's go with,
Make a motion to accept the Flynn Tree Service.
we have a move,
Second.
support, any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Sloan. Lori,
Yes.
Hernandez.
No.
Willis,
Yes.
Weller,
Yes.
4 yeas, 1 nay.
Okay, thank you. And let's put on the schedule for next year to maybe, it looks like bidding by the tree. Okay. Charitable license for CL Spirit. Motion to approve the gaming license for their booster.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Sloan. Yes. Lori,
Yes.
Willis,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
5 yeas.
Okay, thank you. Next item is our ethical standards. Oop,
You can pick this up at City Hall tomorrow if you want. Okay. Or if I just scan it and email it back or. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, see ya. All right, next item is our ethical standards draft and current. Again. email.
So I got asked to put this on, for consideration as a submitted draft. I did include what we have currently in place that this, council voted on back in
2020.
2020. So that is what we had. I had our attorney review the current policy that we have in place. He said there is no issues with it. And he didn't have any other comments other than to say that policy you have in force right now is adequate.
Okay. So your recommendation is what?
Keep what we have in place, but there should be some discussion, I guess, maybe.
Okay.
Well, the concern is that it's a policy that we have and an ordinance is actually a decree, not just a statement, direction or method. So with breaking a policy, it's not, there's no legal sanction. It has to be something done with a body, but there's nothing inside of it to say, okay, if somebody violates the city charter or anything else that's listed, what then is done. With an ordinance, it's the ordinance. It's policy can either be looked on or not looked on as being enforceable. It's not legal.
Well, there's, at the last page here, there's a violation, penalties for violating this code of ethics. So there is,
Right, but
I guess what, I,
compared to what, and I took it off of what the states put out for a model for everything, for an ethics ordinance. And again, an ordinance is not the same as policy. So I'm looking to take this thing and we clean it up and actually make it an ordinance.
so I guess
So I'm,
make a motion to that and we'll then.
so I've drafted the ordinance, you know, we can do our research. Give the ordinance to the attorney, see about marrying things up. You know, and feedback, review it and revise it and then put it up for publicize the ordinance and either vote on it then. But all I'm asking is if this is looked at to see what is inside, what was derived from this. And again, looking at the policy is not as meeting for what is and isn't a violation. And it's not just the city charter. It's even if somebody within the city lets out information that shouldn't have been let out before it was brought before the council.
You're looking for more, tougher penalties? What is that really what you're trying to get at here? I mean, what's the end goal here? I mean, we have a perfectly good ethics policy that we voted for, you and I did in 2020. So it's,
Right. And back then when I voted, I didn't know there's a difference between a policy and an ordinance.
so I guess make a motion, Don, so then we can decide, see what you want out of this. So we can decide then. We want to stick with the current policy or send this the
Make a mo-
attorney?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Make a motion that we take the draft ordinance and our current policy, submit the attorney to
Create a proposed ordinance.
create a
versus
proposed
policy.
ordinance that's more impactive than what we currently have. I mean, there's always room for improvement on and everything and anything.
Okay.
And then we get it back. And again, we do our research through the attorney, get our feedback, input, then publicize it, and we can vote on it then. So it's not a vote to enact it today. It's to go through the process of having the attorney go through both.
For an ordinance, it'd be a public,
Public hearing.
be approved today.
But again, like I found out, like you break a policy in itself will not in itself bring legal sanctions as much as an attempt by the body supporting such policy to legally constrain it. make it a law, an ordinance, or the like, making it strictly illegal to go against
Would you want
legality to it.
legality of breaking an ordinance or a policy?
No, breaking whatever is in
that order.
that ordinance, which encompasses a lot of things, again, through the Attorney General's office for their guidance. Basically,
Yeah, I know, I read that too, and it basically said, you know, if we have a policy in place, it's not law, it's not a law that we have to have an ordinance. We have this policy, so I guess the motion's been made. It's a big one.
Well, what I would more you move to send draft ordinance and current policy to attorney to create a proposed ordinance that is more impacted than what is the city currently has.
with legality to it.
No ordinance
I don't,
declaration brings that with it. It's not.
Right.
I mean, in your draft, it said misdemeanors and jail time and all those things. I mean, is that, I guess, vote on his, we have a second on his motion, or we go from there first?
And again, the terms that's in there, it's just a draft.
Mhm.
Things can be changed, things can be looked at.
Biggest decision, I guess, would be if we want to switch this from a policy that is by the attorney effective, or do we want to take it to ordinance?
Because right now, if somebody violated the city charter, what do we have?
You want to throw them in jail?
You know,
Fine.
it's not just the city charter, it's whatever else is noted inside. the
Keep-
draft.
Reference in the charter, so I just wondering if it was. Okay. So that motion's been made. Okay. Guess that's. I'll make a motion, we stick with the,
But,
well, there's no second. There's no
so this
second.
one dies for lack of support.
Okay, so do we? Guess we don't have to make,
No, stop.
we're done, so, okay. All right, next item is our power load, EMS power load.
So I did mention our new ambulance bond. We do have the power load in the new ambulance with the power cot. In making the transition, once the newer of the older ambulances do not have the power load capability. Because the ambulance came in under budget. We had originally earmarked ARPA money for that. We do have enough, maybe not 100%, but probably 95% ARPA money left that we could pay for this updated piece of equipment. If there is some city cost, I'm also applying to our insurance carrier for a grant. This purchase of equipment is an injury saver, and our insurance company, our liability and workman's comp insurance carrier has grants available for equipment that we can potentially address employee safety and reduction of injuries. So I believe this would be a slam dunk for that. So we had the cost of this piece of equipment presented at $27,131.86. I'm asking for approval to make that purchase.
How much under budget were we on the ambulance?
Sue, did you have that?
Well, I have, because we budgeted like 180 for it.
Mhm.
It went for 150, we got it for 152.
Nice.
So I think
And so
I think we had 20.
I have $24,659.84 left in ARPA money.
Make a motion, we approve the power cart, power load for the cart. Move and support, all in favor?
I'm
Thank you.
Motion carried. Okay, item G is our advisory utility workers negotiations committee.
I was this back on, I guess there was some further discussion.
I have concerns on the committee, and after asking what it was for, and I had concerns last time we had negotiations, that I don't see the reason for a committee if it's the council is going to be as a whole in executive committee going through the recommendations and input from the administrator. We come up with the tactics and what we want not done, what we're looking for. So if there's anybody on council and from MML pulled off the labor relations paperwork, and the first thing is, all elected officials should stay off negotiating team. And for a lot of reasons, if we're the decision makers, we shouldn't be inside there. That's what we're counting on Dave to do, is to do the negotiations, and then come to us as a council. So what's the added benefit of having any council folks, regardless of who they are, in the negotiations?
I think it's extremely important to have council representation at the union talks and the negotiations. I've been through I think every one since I've been on council, and I think it's very important. I know, Randy, you've been on 42 of them.
Everyone that I've ever been on has always been the way it
It's just, it helps speed the process. I think it takes any of the what might get said or taken out of context by one side or the other, having that extra party there. I think it's something that's extremely important to have this representation there. All decisions will be made here by this body, but having a advisory committee there I think it's extremely important.
So what is the two council folks doing while they're there? Are they interacting with the union, or are they just sitting with their back to the walls, listening, and then going off in the corner and talking with the administrator?
Historically, that's how I run when I've done in the past. As the administrator, I like to do most of the talking in the meeting. I definitely, if I don't have council members there, I need another support person, because the he said, she said thing, can't exist during those negotiations. I have to have backup on my side.
We have no one
They'll
else
have
with
several members.
no one else within the city government that's not on council. No one else could do that.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I need at least another body, but whoever that is going to be. I'm just saying historically, it's always been a two-person advisory committee from the council.
We have to take action. Want action taken down?
He said he needs somebody, it's fine, but I'm asking, is there anyone else within the city government that could be it other than? Because again,
Well,
I have been involved with negotiations and I understand they're important. I understand what you're saying and why it's been done. But I'm going off of what MML is putting out for us, and there's even a handbook to go through this stuff for Dave. And I found a lot of stuff, and even appropriate role of elected officials for collective bargaining. Elected officials make policy decisions, and it's directing him. Evaluate efforts of bargaining proposals. That's going to be during a closed session. It's just, I'm asking, why are we going against what's recommended in the best interest? And now I know this was just dumped on everybody. I forgot to attach it, and that's my fault. My apologies. But it's a quick read, and it's just basically the first page, and that explains why there shouldn't be anybody on the council. So if you need somebody, who else could we have?
Well, like
If it's not a council folk.
all those things that MML puts out is recommendation, right? We have to do what's best for our city, our form of how we do things. And this is, in my opinion, the best way to do it. So if you want to change, if you want it to change, I guess the only way for you to change how we've done
And
it
that's what
probably
I'm
since
asking.
40
I've
years.
been involved, so I'm asking you, what are the council folks doing while they're in there? Are they actively involved with the negotiations.
I've been through almost everyone since I've been on, and we do not interact with the union. So.
And that would be my recommendation.
It's an advice, you know, that's-
One person talking should be the city administrator.
All right, so if I'm not actively involved, or there's third party, fine. And I have no issues.
Okay. That's.
So we don't need,
That's all the concern I was bringing up.
public comments again. Yes, sir. Hold on, let me start the clock.
I just want to say thanks for listening to me on that and debating, and I appreciate that. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think it's reckless spending. You want to hire a tree service by the hour, if you get an estimate and say, how much does it cost to cut that tree down? But I think it's easier to spend monopoly money than it is your own money. I think you need to remember you're up there to spend our tax dollars the best way possible. But I do appreciate you listening, and I hope you change it moving forward. I don't think it's a big deal. I think your DPW director is more than capable of going out there marking with trees and making a list. Then I think it would be a more fair bidding process and safer way of spending money.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
bring, worth, where they, Scott, Laura,
Mhm.
my house. I know what's going on with it, I mean,
Yeah, we've done a couple site visits and we're trying to see if there's,
I want to show you how we thought.
This is what, this is,
yeah,
this was yesterday. No, this is yesterday. So you got all these ruts. This is what he was supposed to take out. All he did is take my lilacs out, and that's on the fence row. This is the ditch over here. Okay, he took out, there's tulips that are planted. He took out the fence row. And when I said I needed drainage, all I needed was a backhoe to move a couple stumps way down the thing, and that didn't get addressed.
Okay.
And, you know, now that whole corner is all washed away because they got in there and tore it up. They had to get my lilacs out of there. And it was the corner that's supposed to be, but bring fill in. Well, why take that one lilac out on the end if you're bringing fill in to raise the grade? The very first thing he said was, well, you've had, we've done quite a bit for you. And I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, that cost me $9,000 for that cement, for the water main project that they let go, and it got worse and worse. Well, yeah, by the time that they they wouldn't put patch on it, and it got so bad that they couldn't patch it. So then they had to do that. Well, if you go and actually stop and look, get out of your vehicle, it's at least buckle 3.5 inch drop from letting it go that long. It's washed out, almost down to the next block. So when he gets his estimate for his asphalt or whatever, you might want to look at that lane that got let go from that water, because even the kids across the street said their house was shaking, but not now, but over that water.
Okay. Thank you.
So there's a trench halfway down. I think what dumbfounded him is because they come several times, they get out and they look, and these power lines got them stumped. But also, I put I had the neighbor kid help me yesterday, run a road down, made the fence line or made the drain ditch. So all he's got to do is follow the pattern like a coloring book, just go into the drain.
okay, we're gonna address it.
I know, you said that last month, and nothing got done.
Yeah, we did, we've done it, we've been out there twice, so we're gonna address it.
Okay. All right. Any other public comments? Okay. Thank you. Pay the bills.
$423,442.77.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
All right, so need a motion to go into closed session for utilities workers union negotiations.
Move.
Support.
All in favor?
Nope. Roll call.
Roll call vote, please.
Maury,
Yes.
Sloan, Willis,
Yes.
Hernandez, Butler.
Yes.
5-0.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so.
Come out of closed session. Now we need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Just adjourn. Thank you.